Good questions. Good questions only. Go ahead. Talk to me.
What stood out when you watched the film?
We made a lot of bonehead penalties. We had I think 3 or 4 massive penalties that led to points. If we get off the field on a couple of those third downs as well, we end up getting penalties that end up extending it. It's a different ball game, And so, game 1, I didn't want it to go that way. Glad we got the win. Obviously, you can definitely teach from that, and they can grow and learn from it. But it's just fundamental things we got to clean up, just in terms of after the play. You know what I'm saying? We got to make sure we can't penalize after the play. We got to make sure that we're a lot smarter in our decision making after the play. And then I got to do a better job of putting those guys in position to have success. You know what I'm saying? And so I think in the latter part of the game, we did a much better job at that and adjusting. That quarterback, man, he's good. He's good. He presented some problems. You know what I'm saying? He can run around. Obviously, we had some guys that up front was trying to get to him. They just couldn't, and he extended plays, and those guys had to chase him. And so, right, like we obviously had to substitute some guys up front because guys were gassed. It was hot out there. Guys were cramping. It was game 1, and so the goal is try to learn from it. Not sure what I think it's going to be a little hotter in Kansas. The goal is to try to learn from it, and we'll be much better at it this coming week.
What was your approach up front to a quarterback like that? Because obviously you got another one this week.
Man, it is always a tough task because you got to ask the question, right? Do you play coverage, all right, and only bring a couple and allow him to have a little more time back there, or do you bring more than they can block and still allow them to run around because we can't get to them? So you just try to find a fine balance and kind of get them off beat a little bit, kind of like we did in the second half. I thought we were much better in the second half, trying to get a little more pressure to them and the way in which we did it. And so I know everybody has answers in regards to, right, like why don't you bring more? Well, the problem is if you bring more and we don't tackle him, maybe he hits his head on a goalpost for a couple of those, at least in zone coverage. He has time to run around, but you got guys with eyes on him. And so that's always a challenge, you know what I'm saying, when you're playing a quarterback of that caliber, right? That young man had the ability to run around. He was really athletic, and so we were just trying to do what we could to contain him and keep everything in front of us for the most part. And I thought the guys, they tried to. I thought they did on for most occasions. Obviously, we're still a work in progress, but I wasn't completely pleased. I was pleased with the way we handled the adversity early and how we adjusted to it. But I think if we play our game in the way we're capable of playing, I think we're going to be a much better football team moving forward.
What does it feel like you're prepping for 2 quarterbacks this week with some uncertainty there?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Both of the quarterbacks are extremely talented. I think Bean presents a different set of issues just because of I think he's on a time at 10-300 meters, some of that nature. The kid can fly. And the starter, 6'6" is ridiculous. He has a cannon. He throws the ball extremely well. He makes all the throws. It's times in which obviously their offense is catered around the quarterback system and finding the right guy. And so we're preparing for both of them because we're not sure. We're hearing things, but not really sure. I think they do a really good job in having a 2 quarterback system because they play both of them. Sometimes they're both on the field, and our goal is to try to stop them whenever we can. So another task this week with a really good quarterback, but that goes without saying, right? Like, we're going to play good quarterbacks every single week, and each one of them are going to present a different problem, and it's up to us to make sure we're ready and prepared for it.
What did you see out of McCantos, especially after T-String goes down with that concussion in the second half?
Yeah, I thought he handled it pretty well, man. Obviously, I think he could put himself in better positions at times in terms of fundamentally, and I got to help him do that just in regards to our coverage. But he didn't waver, man. He was extremely confident, and I think at some point in time when the year goes on, we're going to need that young man. Like I told all the young DBs before we played, I think on Thursday night, something's going to happen to where we're going to lose somebody for a quarter, a half, or maybe even a game, and somebody's going to have to step up, so you have to be ready. And halftime, we had a guy go down, and somebody had to step up, and I thought he did a good job at that for the most part. Fundamentally, got to clean up some technique things, but they tried to take some shots on him, and I thought he responded really well.
What are some things you'd like to clean up with the rushing defense? They had some success on the gap running plays.
So when we talk about rushing defense, like a lot of people think about rushing defense and they think about D-line only. Well, that ain't how our defense is structured. Rushing defense is all inclusive. Only people who are not included in rushing defense from time to time are the corners, All right, rushing defense involves all those 9 guys, right? So for what the average fan may see on TV, right, the D-line may not do this, a D-line may not do that. Where's the safety at in that fit? You know what I'm saying? Because our safeties are tied to the box a lot of times. And so I have to do a better job in making sure our secondary guys are crystal clear on their job description, their assignment when they're in when they're at linebacker depth and they're in the run fit. You know, and so obviously, right, like who would have thought, right, Toledo would have the mindset to come out and run the ball against us, right? Salute to Coach Candle in that regard. But we just got to be better. We just got to be better. We got to be cleaner. And I have to be able to see things faster and adjust to them faster and put our guys in a better position.
Do you think you're going to start having guys campaigning to move to free safety and start a life as a wide receiver?
Probably, man. It's the coolest thing in the world, right, from Miles Scott, because I've told every young man in the secondary, like, all you have to do is listen to us. That's all you got to do is just listen to us. And Miles is a complete sponge, man. Like, I wish you could see him in the meeting room. He's a complete sponge. That kid has a 4.0 for a reason, right? Miles has a 4.0 for a reason, right? And he hangs on to every word. He hangs on to every alignment. Is he always perfect? No. All right? But it was his first time starting at defensive back. How about that? First career start. First career interception, right? And scores a touchdown. That's just a young man listening, taking the coaching, and applying it, right? So I think that speaks volumes to our system and what's in place, right? Because maybe last week it was Miles, but maybe next week it's Taz, or maybe the following week it's Johnny Newton, or maybe the following week it's Clayton Bush and Nakario Harper. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just a testament to, if you buy into what we are selling, you are going to be put in positions that you can't even imagine, right? Miles had made that play 100 times over in fall camp, 100 times over. Right, and so it wasn't a shock to me when he made it, right? I had been raving about him to you guys about how good of a fall camp he's had. I've been talking about us scoring more on defense. Now, we don't want to give up more touchdowns and trading that for scoring, you know what I'm saying? But I think that's just a testament to the young man. I think he's completely bought in and he believes what we're talking about, and I think that play was just a catalyst of it. And there were several plays before that you're like, this dude, like, he's been here for the last 2-3 years. He just got there. Right? We started Miles off in the spring at corner. He had a play in fall camp at corner, a pick 6, and took it to the house. And I wasn't so sure, and Coach wasn't so sure that he shouldn't be a safety. You know, and so, like, to see him have that success, I'm super excited for him. But my challenge to him and everybody on defense is, right, can you make those kind of plays again? Right? Because if you do it one time, in my opinion, that's okay, you got pretty lucky. Right? But if you can do it again, I think you can be a special player.
Is 3rd and long a priority going into this game? Seems like they had a lot of 3rd and short situations.
Absolutely, and that's mostly in part to we have to be better on early downs, right? 3rd and shorts are always manageable for offense, right, when you're not good on 1st and 2nd down. Again, the latter part of the game, I thought we were better on early downs, but I have to do a better job of putting us in better position on early downs so that we don't have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 3rd and shorts, right? The goal is to get to 3rd and longer situations, but as you guys saw, right, we were in the 3rd and 14 with Tariq. We get a personal foul, right? That adds points to the board. We're in the 3rd and 15 with Gabe Atkins. We get a personal foul. That adds points. That's 14 points, fellas. That's 14 points. We take 14 points off the board, right? Like, and then you add the 2 PIs that Taz had at the end of the half, right? Like, that's a whole. I mean, we're talking about a whole different ball game. So we got to be cleaner in everything that we do, right? Early down, 3rd down, right? Cleaner in our technique so that we don't get penalties. Cleaner after the whistle, and in hopes that gives us a better chance to play the ball that we're capable of playing defensively.
Aaron, do you get a sense that you and JMO are convinced that Johnny and Keith are bought into this early rotation that you want to do with them? And because I know that they want to get on the field as much as possible.
Oh, absolutely. And so I think part of the thing that we were dealing with the other night is, right, you're chasing a guy for more than 3 to 4 seconds.
Okay.
Right? And so, like, that won't be the rotation every game, but since I've been here, that's the most athletic quarterback that we've ever seen, like, by far. You know, and that kid was, I mean, he extended plays sometimes. It was a play that was 7, 8 seconds. You know, so to have Johnny and Keith, I know we all want them on the field 24/7, but fellas, them dudes are 290, 285, banging in the trenches. That ain't happening, right? That ain't happening nowhere across the country. That ain't happening in the NFL. And so you have to be able to rotate guys, right, to keep them fresh so that when we do get to the latter part of the game, they can play those significant snaps. And so I thought we did a good job at subbing them, but that was more so to just try to keep them fresh because this quarterback, I mean, he just created some issues just running around the pocket that was relatively hard and challenging, and obviously, right, those guys up front, they get tired a little faster than those guys on the back end just because of their size.
One more question. Regardless of who plays quarterback, both of them can make plays with their feet. What can your outside linebackers take from Saturday into that game in terms of what they learned?
Right. Well, I think all of it, at the end of the day, all of it, I think, starts with me as the play caller, right? I have to do a better job of putting those guys in a better position, whether to rush the passer or drop, right? We have to tweak some things defensively in terms of our scheme, you know, when we're playing guys of that stature, you know, but I thought they tried to do their job. Like, those young men didn't do nothing outside of but their job. When they were asked to drop, they dropped. When they were asked to rush, they rushed, you know. And so that falls on me in large part, right? Just putting them in a better position, right, when we're playing guys of those calibers, right, to have success.